Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our town hall meeting for June 2025. A nice hot one today. It's nice though. It's nice. After kind of a cold spring, it's nice to have a hot few days in a row. At least that's what I think. Um, I have a few items to share with you all this morning. Then I'll pass the mic off to Emily and Betsy and our new friend Al Vega for a quick hello as well. And then after that point in time, we'll be happy to answer any questions. But as always, if you have questions in the meantime, don't hesitate, shout out, raise your hand, or do whatever you have to do to get your question asked and answered. Because as all of us do, sometimes we forget if we wait for 20 minutes to ask our question, what our question was in the first place. Starting things off, from a community expansion / development standpoint, we have been talking and talking and talking, I know, about being able to share plans with you. We have been able to take two important steps that I want to share with you related to expansion of residential living services on campus, as well as a new therapy / body shop space that we are looking at. So those are some of the plans that we will be able to share with you, not today, but soon. But we did share some things with our board of directors. We are finishing up with the initial phase with our architects. And we're working with builders right now. So there is really good momentum, and we really should show you something soon. So I'm not going to spoil it that way, but I wanted to start with that to make sure that you're all aware. We know that you want to see some things. We know that you want to share your input, and we do want to see that, and we do want to engage in that. Just not yet. Important one, life safety wise, that we have talked about before, but just want to make sure that we are clear and up to date. From a sprinkler and a fire drill perspective. Yes. So three things. One, as for any resident who's in residential living, particularly the Oak Tree Apartments, when there is an actual fire event, your system will go off anywhere in this building. Similarly, if there is burnt food in Oak Tree or something of the sort, things will go off in Magnolia House. This building is entirely connected, so things will go off. When there are fire drills, that should not occur. There is a very simple system on our fire panel that even I know how to operate at this juncture that bypasses several areas when we have fire drills that should occur. We did have an instance probably 2 months ago where there was user error in the middle of the evening that we have remedied with the organization that we work with to help run our fire drills. That should not occur. We apologize for when it does, but that is the process. If it's a drill, you type in some certain buttons, you can see clearly that the areas are bypassed that should be bypassed, and then you run the drill as normal. So just wanted to keep you all informed of that. Two, there is a pump in our sprinkler system, our sprinkler pump, right back here in the room kind of right behind us, in the boiler room. That piece is in. We are waiting to connect it. We are waiting to work with Pico on June 18th, and we expect that piece to be connected, which will re-enable our sprinkler pump at that juncture, and then we will be off the bypass of that system that has been affecting Magnolia House West, this area here, and the Oak Tree Apartment. Wanted to make you aware of that as well. Anything else related to that, Emily, that I'm missing? Okay. New positions. So we have 3 new individuals who are here and or coming aboard that we have talked about before, but just kind of wrapping up that portion of the conversation. Lori Daly, she is the wellness nurse. She's here 20 hours a week. She is filling the slot that Jamie Langer played from a residential living nursing perspective. So if you see her around, say hi to Lori. Again, she has worked with Frederick Living for almost a decade. We know her well, and we believe she is going to excel in that new role. In addition, teaming up with Lori will be our new personal care and residential living social worker. This is a full-time position. This is someone who will be able to connect residents in personal care and residential living with services, resources, and help as a guide through all of the fun things that we have to go through from time to time. Her name is Tammy Zumstein. She will begin in about 2 weeks. I believe June 16th is the date that she will begin. She is well experienced, well versed in this realm, and we'll be happy to bring her aboard when she joins on June 16th. Last but not least, he's not going to talk just yet, but last but not least, our new Director of Campus Operations started on Monday. He is that gentleman back there. His name is Al Vega. I'm going to pass the mic to him after Emily provides her update, after Betsy provides her update. Then we'll pass it off to Al, who is going to say a quick hello. But we are very excited to have him join the team. He has worked at Garden Spot for the past 7 years as their Director of Environmental Services. He is already getting to know the team, getting to know the community, and we have high hopes for Al, but a lot of good feeling already for him joining the team. So welcome Al Vega to Frederick Living as well. Welcome, Al. Last point that I want to make, if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them now, later in this meeting, or after this meeting. We have had a couple of different meetings related to the 2025-2026 budget. If there is anything that folks want to talk about, dissect, or talk about for them personally, I will be happy to do that and work through any questions or issues that we all have. I didn't mean right now, but I guess I did.
I'm concerned that the nurse that you're putting in the position of the coordinator of the health center is an LPN. And I would really rather see an RN who has been even advanced practice nurse in that position. And why is it an LPN?
So if everyone got that, it was the questioning between LPN and RN in the wellness nurse role. When we were searching for this position, we were looking for the right fit. Based on resumes that we received, based on people that we spoke with, based on knowledge of this particular candidate that came through, we felt that she was the best for the role that we were looking for. And what her expertise is from a nursing perspective, we felt was up to par with any particular RN that would be available for that role. Understood there's a different level. Understood completely, but based on her experience and based on what we think she can bring to the table, we think that that will work very well for the role. 1, 2, were you 3? Okay.
I'm talking about the 3rd floor of the apartment complex. It was my understanding that after the 1st and 2nd floor of the apartments, the 3rd floor would be brought up to snuff as 1st and 2nd floor. In addition, it was my understanding that these renovations would take place during fiscal year 24-25, the current fiscal year. What I'm wondering, Mike, is that still to go? But I am very doubtful that it will occur in the original time frame.
So just to make sure we're all on the same page, this is related to the oak tree renovations of the third floor in a similar fashion that we did the first and the second floors. So I believe that we spoke about this at the most recent town hall meeting and/or coffee and conversation. I believe we did, but I want to reiterate if that is not clear. And I am answering your question. It's going to take me a second. Well, let me get to the short part of it. Will it occur? Will any change or specific changes occur between now and June 30th? No, you are correct. Why? In terms of capital budgeting, we have plans and then we have realities. When it comes to, pardon me, when it comes to a specific project that we believed was going to be better off in phases, we budgeted in a certain way and thought it was going to occur in a certain way. Specifically, the Oak Tree Loop. That was a project that we thought was going to be done better in 4 or 5 phases. We've done one of the phases already. And when I say the Oak Tree Loop, that means all of the pipes for the HVAC system. It means the actual HVAC unit themselves. And that is something that we hoped would be better off in a phased approach, a couple of $100,000 here, a couple of $100,000 there over several years. Based on recommendations from everyone involved in that project, it is now something that we are aiming to start and finish late summer, fall of 2025. That project is somewhere in the range of $800,000 to $900,000. That is by far our largest project that we have on the books for next year. Our expectation was that one of those phases would take a small chunk of that money and we would still be able to do the third floor renovations in the same way that we did the first two. Those first and second floor renovations were quite expensive and still the largest capital item that we had on the books. So what we have done is, knowing that this very large project was coming down the pike, what we did was we pumped the brakes on the renovations of the third floor. Now, what we hope is that we're able to piecemeal some items over the next 12 to 13 months and get close to full renovation. A carpet here, some furniture there, some paint another way. We can't guarantee that. It's our hope to be able to get close by the end of, let's say, next fiscal year. But the reason we pumped the brakes on that renovation was because of this other project that went from a phased approach to a whole approach. I hope that provides some clarity and makes some sense. I'm not saying it's going to make everyone happy, but that is the rationale that we use there.
Thank you, Mike. Sure. I think the appearance of the third floor of the apartment complex would detract from people wanting to make this their permanent residency. So I see that as an eyesore for potential future residents.
In a way, we agree, which is why we have those changes already made on the first and the second floor and why we want to make those changes on the third floor. After kind of diagnosing fully what our issues are with the HVAC system, we felt and still feel that that is a more pressing concern to address and address well and address fully than what will be cosmetic changes to that space. Meaning, if we have a pipe burst and water flowing all over the place, it doesn't matter what our renovations are going to look like. Because we've done that before. It's not fun. So, with no more questions momentarily, I'm going to pass things off to Emily for some next steps. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Emily Messner. I'm the Director of Residential Life. So got a couple updates today. A lot of good things going on in the community. So just raise your hand if you signed up for the Olympics at all coming up. Anyone signed up? All right. Yeah, we have had a lot of signups from residents and team members. So the Frederick Living Olympics are going to take place June 16th to June 27th. Lots of different events. I know I've been practicing my Wii bowling skills. I showed Lindy some of my underleg and over the top. So I'm hoping to take home the Freddie. I don't know what my competition looks like, but I'm excited. And I hope you are too. So you're going to see a lot of people playing different games, competitions coming up. We look forward to that. I want to express particular appreciation to Frank Morgan. I think he's here somewhere, and Kathy Kuhar. If I am missing anyone who put a lot of logistical work into this, I am grateful for you as well. But I know a lot of time has been spent on this, and there's a lot of excitement around it. So, Freddie Olympics, who's going to take home the Freddies is word. Another exciting event I want to highlight is we are going to have a free Hershey ice cream pop-up on the bistro, and that is Thursday, June 19th. One of our goals is to offer more outdoor food opportunities as well as, and really for all areas of living. I know we're going to be having a barbecue for Magnolia at some point soon. We're looking at some other fun events for the community outdoors in June. Again, that's Thursday, June 19th. Stop by. It's free ice cream day. Hang out with your friends. It's really nice and Hershey is coming out to do it, so it's all free of charge. Additionally, I want to thank the residents who attended the musical arts series. That was May 18th. We had just a lovely group called Bella Musica, a string quartet here. This is part of the musical arts series fund in memory of one of our residents that had been set up, Ellen Kohler. It was a really beautiful event. So I encourage you to, if anyone mentions it or has gone and you talk to them and you're thinking, hey, I might come to this event. Again, it's a ticketed event, but it's not that much. It's about $10 for a whole and appetizers and desserts as well. Our next one will be in October. We are currently planning it, but just consider it. And I appreciate all the people. We had a really good attendance as well and a nice setup. Another thing happening this summer is I've been working closely with our Sinus College to see how we can kind of continue to work with them and their students so that we're in relationship and maybe perhaps at some point getting some where we can audit some classes, but also how their students can come here and participate. And one of the things we are very hopeful will happen in July is they have a summer fellows program where people need to apply. They're summer fellows. They're working on very specific projects, and that we would be a place that they could do 2 hour-long practice sessions. So they get 10 minutes a person to speak, so it'll be 5 presenters, and then another day it'd be 5 presenters, and they each get 10 minutes. They would be presenting to you their project findings. The dates that we're looking at are July 14th and 16th. You'll see more information come out. If you are available to come and give feedback to these summer fellows and listen to their presentations as they practice for their actual final big presentation, that would be great. We're continuing to, again, I said, to look at Ursinus College is a really good opportunity for us to connect with a local organization. And lastly, I know the farmers market wasn't here. I just wanted to get ahead of that a little bit. It sounds like there were some, with changes in staff and communication, that we just kind of missed the ball on that one this week. I know that we were trying to get the direct contact for the specific person that was working with us originally, and so hopefully we'll have them back very soon. We'll keep you updated. And I know Deb is working on that. So as we get closer, we'll get that posting out. So we apologize for that as well. Yes, we got 1 second. Yes, I am.
I saw on the screen that the pictures of the young people that work here that are graduating from high school, and there was a quick screen that said there's going to be a little celebration or something for the seniors. Didn't we see that?
I do know there is going to be something. Deb, in passing, had mentioned to me that somebody have information? Yeah, it's in the newsletter. I know Deb and her team were organizing that, and it's a drop-by, right? 3 to 4? Yeah, Dwana said it's in the newsletter. So Deb is not here today, but her team had set that up. The majority of those students are in dining services, so feel free to stop by. Information is in the yellow paper this week. Okay. I'm going to pass it off to Betsy. She has a couple more items.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Betsy Natter. I am the storyteller in the marketing department here at Frederick Living. I'm also sort of the on-campus face of mission advancement. So first of all, I wanted to thank everybody if you came out to participate and cheer on runners at the 5K. I know it was not the ideal day like it was last year, but we still had 47 runners and about 25 people who walked. And unfortunately, the raindrops stopped just in time. And it was a nice morning for everybody who was here, and it got some people onto campus who typically aren't on campus. One of the things we do is to raise money for benevolent care through sponsorships, and those sponsorships happen earlier in the year, and then that's divided between our 2 big campus events, the 5K and then the Christmas event, or the in memoriam event, which this year will be called Lights of Remembrance. And so for this event, that's split. So for this event, we raised $9,000 for benevolent care. So that was good. I also wanted to let you know, you've probably seen it around, but we do have free Phillies tickets. This is for Sunday, June 22nd at 5 p.m. There is a bus if you're interested in going for that sign-up. I think sign-ups right now are kind of low, so that may... If more people sign up, we'll definitely have the bus. But these are free, so I'm going to put them over here. If you want to take 1, you want to take 2, you want to take 5 for kids and grandkids, that's great. This is something that Frederick Living does as a sponsorship for Boyertown Night for the event. I think Fran Mahalik is going to be one of the first pitchers. So if you want to go see Fran, throw in a first pitch and cheer her on, pick up a ticket. And the other thing I want to ask for your participation in is a bowling bonanza. This will take place on July 26th. It is at Dutch Lanes, which is down 222. I'll give you some background on what this is. Some of you may have heard of the Travel with Purpose trips. These are sponsored through Garden Spot Communities, and they're open to any team member, any resident, or if you have a connection to someone in one of those roles in any of the Garden Spot communities, you can participate in a Travel with Purpose trip. This year, the trip is going to Nairobi, Kenya, and they will be working with Missions of Hope International. Missions of Hope has I forget the exact number, I think it's 30-some schools that they start in various areas of Kenya. I think there's 1 or 2 in Uganda as well, but they start schools. They provide education for children. The particular school that we'll be visiting is Pangani School that gets kids out of the slums of Nairobi, which is one of the largest slums in the world. They provide them with clothing, education, 2 meals a day. They also provide educational opportunities and training opportunities for a lot of the single mothers, families, to provide them not just a handout, but a way to be self-sustaining and support their families. So from Frederick Living, we have Alice Bishop and her sister-in-law are going, and then Duana Helsel and myself will be going along with our husbands. So we're having this fundraiser, not just us, but the whole team doing this bowling bonanza. So if you have a family member, grandkids who might be interested in participating, I'll have forms up there as well. There's a link on there that you can sign up for a lane. It's $120 a lane, but that's for 6 people. It's 2 hours of bowling, shoes, and then you get tickets for a penny social, which is really a raffle, but given Earl Township gaming laws, we can't say raffle, so we have to say penny social. So you can participate in that as well. But after that long explanation, what I'm really asking a lot of you for, in case you're not interested in bowling, is we're looking for a few gift baskets to represent Frederick Living's portion of the team. So these would be baskets that would be part of that penny social. So if you're interested in getting together with 1 or 2 friends and putting some items together, gift cards or a themed basket to be in that penny social, please let me know if you're interested in contributing any money that we can go purchase items to create those, and then those will be auctioned off at the penny social. So thank you.
Hi everyone. Like Mike said, I am Al Vega. I'm new here, so I don't have the answers yet. So you might notice in my accent, I was actually born in Philadelphia, but to Puerto Rican parents. So I was raised in Puerto Rico. At the age of 5, I moved to Puerto Rico, and I did all my schooling over there. And when I came back, when I was 17 years old to Connecticut, I didn't know a word in English. So I was put into high school in Connecticut to a regular high school program, and I managed to survive my last year. And then right after, I joined the U.S. Coast Guard, where I served for 6 years. And then in 2000, I moved to New Holland, and that's where I've been since then. I worked in Garden Spot Village since 2001, and then for 6 years in the maintenance department. And then while I was doing that, I was in college, and like survival college, to be a teacher. And I taught little kids for 10 years, elementary school. And then one day, I told my wife, I can't do this anymore. She said, you know how to do many other things. Stop complaining. Go find something else to do. That's when I called back to Garden Spot. I was like, do you guys have anything? And they took me back as a maintenance worker. That's what I did before. And then a year later, I joined the leadership team with the environmental services. I am super glad to be here now because I think that I learned so much stuff over there that I could bring here to Frederick. I think it is a great organization here that we have, and I know it is great, and we could make it greater. So I want to tell you a little about my background. Saying that, I like talking a lot, so I'm sorry about that. Thanks for giving me the mic. Hopefully you guys have another hour here. Just kidding. Outside of work, I like still working with kids. So I participate in this group. It's called Life Cycles, where I carry like 50-something bikes on a trailer on Tuesdays and Thursdays during the summer. I spend my evenings with about 50 boys and 20 girls, where we mentor them through cycling. So I do a lot of cycling trips. So some weeks you won't see me here is because I'm somewhere in the U.S. riding my bicycle. Another hobby that I have is riding motorcycles with my son. So sometimes you'll hear some stories about that. I love telling stories. So if you ever want to hear a story about cycling, motorcycling, or any adventure that my family is doing, just ask me. I have plenty of those. Um, Pretty much that's all I wanted to say.
So again, needless to say, we are excited to get Al ready, going, and working. He's already off and running, so we're appreciative and thankful for that. That ends the presentation portion of our town hall meeting. So at this juncture, Emily and I are around, and we want to explore if there are any questions, any comments that we have from residents here today.
I was wondering when the service people come to work at your house, that they couldn't be called in the morning to say, hey, we're coming. We came home one day, there was a serviceman working, and 2 Frederick people were sitting to be there with him, and he couldn't be alone. Now, we would have been home if we would have known he was coming.
I'd like to piggyback on that because when they came and did all that work in the spring, they had called me the week before saying it was my turn. They were going to come and be in my apartment, and they would call me that day. No one did. I was up here all day. My dog, if you've ever met her, she's very afraid of people, was there in the apartment all day. When I got home, I couldn't find her. It's not a big apartment, but I kind of panicked. I could tell they'd been there. They locked my door. I left it unlocked. And they had done other things around and left me a note, but I could not find her. And I thought they had accidentally let her out, but I finally found her. She was hiding under my bed. She has never done that before. Now, whenever there's anybody in the hallway, she hears them and she runs to hide because she thinks they're coming inside. So, yeah, they should let us know that they're going to be there. I would have done something with her that day. She wouldn't have hurt them, but it just sort of scarred her. She already is, so.
For that individually, I am sorry for that. That is unfortunate. Generally speaking, to both of your points and to other things that we've heard from residents before, I'm not going to pass the mic to Al on this one yet. But what I have asked Al and what we have talked about very clearly is we have things within the marketing, or pardon me, within the maintenance and housekeeping teams specifically that we can do and we can do well that have nothing to do with the building itself, right? That have nothing to do with past decision making, that have nothing to do with geothermal or oak tree loops or anything of the sort. From a customer service perspective, from a follow-up perspective, and from a communication perspective, those have nothing to do with anything but us doing things properly. And that is something that we have clearly communicated about, and I am confident that Al, with his experience, with his team building, and with his communication abilities, is going to make sure is a priority and focus, particularly for members of the maintenance and housekeeping teams who are in your spaces, who are working in your accommodations. Sound good, Al?
I have a shout out today. I don't know if any of you have had any opportunity to work with Duana, who is a new team member, but I see she's here today. She is doing an amazing job at Frederick Living. Sometimes things get a little confused around here. There's misquotes or miscommunication or whatever. But if you go to Duana, she will set you straight and get everybody straightened out. And I really, really appreciate her and wanted to shout out to her. She did an awesome meeting yesterday, got us out of there in 20 minutes, and got everything taken care of, and she is just doing an amazing job. I think she needs to hear that.
We agree.
And I have a second question for Emily. What's a food club?
I'm going to say, Lynn, that one is not in my realm. A food club. I think Jess has set something up, and I saw something about it. We'll have to get more information.
We will look into that and
Yeah.
get you more information.
Yeah, we'll get more information. It's not in my scope right now, but I'm going to get it in my scope.
Now, I know that I have a reputation of knowing everything all the time, but this one I
Yes,
don't know.
I-
So we will look into it. I really don't have I don't have an answer on that one. I'm very sorry.
I have seen the flyers around, but without Deb being here, I don't want to give any incorrect information.
Where are we? One up here? Dan?
I like food. But the information we got on the food club, that it's going to be an information session. That's what it's going to be. It's Monday at 10 o'clock. I think whoever would go there would probably give some input and say, this is what we would like to do or not like to do, and whatever like that. That's what I think it's about. Thank you.
Thank you.
I asked Jess because I was curious about this club too, liking food. And she said, it's a club, people that are interested in food, a foodie, and we will decide what the club's going to do, those of us that show up that day. So if you're interested, you come, and then we decide when we're going to meet, how often we're going to meet. She said something about we might be cooking, we'd be tasting, so it's something to do with food. So that's what you do. Come on Monday and put your ideas in.
I could have said that. Something to do with food.
Did they do anything about the trees, studying the trees? I know at our place at 5,000, the last 2 rainstorms, the water's coming over the gutters, ruining the foundations. And I'm sure in the back of the house, it probably, I don't know where it goes underground, it probably is ruining the foundation. They should check that out. There's green stuff growing out over the spouting now.
So we do have the assessment. We're waiting on recommendations from that and from the team that was out here reviewing the trees on campus. So if you recall, one of maybe the last coffee and conversation that occurred, we had a team who was out with an arborist who was taking a look at all of the trees on campus and identifying those specifically that needed a little bit of work or were too far gone and that needed to go. We're going to take those recommendations and then we're going to act upon them from a planning perspective, but we don't have anything exactly. Is it part of his job? It will be, yes. Yes. Not today, but yes.
Yeah, I got it, Mike.
Yeah, last year's drought ravaged a bunch of bushes down at where I live, in the meadows, and some of them are all dead. Are they going to be replaced?
I don't know that answer specifically. So
Ryan does a tremendous job for being by himself. That's all I got to say.
Agreed.
He is to be commended. But I noticed he's starting to chop trees down, but they're never going to be replaced. They're just Nothing there. And that's the end of it. What, are they going to wait until all of them are dead and then they're going to bring in the trees?
In short, no. But from a larger plan perspective, I don't think I would be able to succinctly provide you with an update on a specific tree or specific trees. But what we are doing and what we will do is we will manage kind of a larger scale plan in terms of trees, bushes, shrubs, plants, so that we can be as effective as we can be in bringing those things up and maintaining our space well. But understood on an individual basis when it comes to a bush, when it comes to things like that, I don't think I can give you a specific answer there.
Out in front of my neighbor's house across the street, a storm came up and snapped the tree right off. Oh, we'll replace that. Never did. What happened? Well, it had growth around the base. Now we got a bush. Now it looks like a good bush, but it's not a tree. Originally there was a tree there. It blew away in a storm. Snapped right off. Oh, we'll replace that. Never did. Even in where I live, I had a bush that was dead. I was going to put in knockoff roses. Oh, you can't do that. I said, why not? Because the bush that died was in your portfolio when you moved into the house. I said, what does that have to do with anything? You're never going to replace the bush. And guess what? They never did. And my knockoff roses are in the back. Now I got 3 dead bushes. My knockoffs are great.
So I think that's a good flavor that we have been talking about this week, Al, of, you know, kind of what's to come from a grounds perspective and some things that we can tighten up in that particular way.
I don't know if they did it this year, but when they used to do the annual assessment at your house, make sure your driver events were open, they took the refrigerator and stuff out, they used to do the gutters. But I don't think they did the gutters this year. And that might be part of the problem because this last deluge of rain, I noticed mine were overflowing too. It could be because it was just raining so hard. But if they would do that with the inspection like they were, if they aren't, that might help keep some of that water from away from the basements.
I know what you mean.
I've heard some conversation, and I don't know the answer. It may be in our directory, had I read it from cover to cover. I know in the Oak Tree Apartments, we are independent living. Has Frederick ever done any kind of inspection, even though we are independent, of the manner of housekeeping that's going on in those independent apartments, or is that off limits to have that kind of inspection done, being we're independent?
Can I clarify what you mean by inspection?
Yeah, just kind of see that there's not maybe some hoarding going on or something of that nature.
Understood. Are you hoarding? Is that what you're saying? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So that's a little. So all residents that live on campus, you sign a contract when you move in here, and there are certain expectations that you have from us, and there are certain expectations that we have of residents if you're going to move into this community, right? There's a handbook, there are things of that nature that we try to uphold our end of the bargain, you try to uphold yours, and we meet in the middle, et cetera. If we have scenarios where we believe that someone is hoarding or perhaps not holding up their end of the bargain, it does get a little bit gray and a little bit fishy, but most of those occasions we aim to work with folks like Emily, folks like our new social worker coming aboard, wellness nurse, things of that nature to perhaps identify what the issue is and work with residents in those scenarios to assist. Hoarding can be subjective, right? Someone may have a lot of stuff and you might walk in and start to have some heart palpitations. Is that beyond the pale? We don't know. It kind of depends on scenario to scenario. Sometimes there's no doubt, hey, you got crap in here, it's got to go. But we try to be sensitive for those particular individuals, and we try to work with them to the best of our ability, if that knowledge arises. But it's not like we're knocking on doors and inspecting spaces in that particular way. It's not a normal procedure. It's more of if the information comes to us either from, a neighbor tapping us, say, ooh, we might have some troubles over here, or information coming in that way. It's not so much the housekeeping police coming around to make sure that stuff's in shape. Sure.
Do they ever wash the windows on the outside in the Oak Tree Apartments?
I think, I don't want to say,
We're going to work with Al to make
Yeah,
sure
we're
that we
gonna
have
find
that
that out.
information as clear as possible, and we can communicate that back with you.
yeah.
Sorry, Al.
Do I understand the nurse, the LPN, is only here 20 hours a week? So what do we do? I mean, so many things in our book and everything, call the nurse, call the nurse. 20 hours doesn't seem like a not. I mean, who do we call if she's not here?
Well, so let's step back for a second. So Jamie Langer, who was here 40 hours a week out of 168 hours in a week as a whole. Her role was technically 20 hours as an infection preventionist for skilled nursing, having nothing to do with residential living residents or anyone of the sort. On paper, did it always work out this way? No, but on paper, she was technically the wellness nurse for 20 hours a week, which is the same amount that we have Lori here. So from a one-to-one perspective, there is no real change. The change that has occurred is we have added hours by bringing in this social worker as well to this space, who might be able to help in those scenarios when we have someone who may be hoarding in residential living, and that person might be able to help and provide services and be a little bit softer in the process, right? So who do you call? It depends. Do you have an emergent medical issue? You call 911 in that scenario. Do you have something that you want to get a look at that might be important, can't wait till Monday, but isn't a 911? Then in that issue, we'd probably go to urgent care or something like that. So kind of standard procedure that we had in place with Jamie as well. It's interesting standing up here when you give an answer, and some of the times it's a little bit of laughter, some of the times it's smiles, and some of the times it's kind of chatter in between. I don't really know how to handle any of those, but just letting you all know from what I see up here, right?
In regard to the hoarding, some people have to be very aware of the money they're spending, of their finances. And I know last year down in the Meadows, someone who was very social and in and out of people's homes was complaining about the housekeeping, and there were a couple of us who said, we would be glad to help somebody else. Maybe they're having a health problem, maybe they're embarrassed because they can't afford to have someone else come in. So maybe what we need to do is just try to help each other. Just make yourself more available.
I appreciate that. And it is, there can be a lot of factors involved, right? So many of those different facets of it. It could be a something that's unavoidable, and it could be a lot of different factors involved. Could be cultural, could be anything, yeah. Anything else for anyone here? Yes.
I know there are many facilities that are larger than we are when you think of the total number of residents living here. But my thought is in regard to not having an RN more than, you can say 20 hours a week for us. Is that not anything that's mandated by any organization or state or anything to say your requirement should be nursing at an old, basically we're generally older people. Anyway, you know what I'm asking.
What I was hearing more there is what is required to be offered in a residential living setting. Is that what I'm hearing correctly in terms of hours, people, et cetera? In short, from a regulatory perspective, where we have certain requirements as it comes to nursing is in skilled nursing, memory support, and personal care. When it comes to residential living, there is no regulatory requirement to offer any sort of nursing services in that particular way. And it's something that, for folks who have been here longer than I have, we have vacillated over the years in what is offered and what is not offered. But in terms of adding in a social worker and evolving a little bit toward a social work model versus necessarily a healthcare model, that is something that we are taking a cue from Garden Spot in that way, and I hope that we can evolve that well here with our new person aboard.
I think when we were all younger, LPNs by training did temperatures and pulse and massages, and I think their training is much more in depth now. Just like that of an RN who used to give massages, they don't any longer. Their training is much more in depth. So I think we can be very comfortable with someone who is an LPN because the training they get now is much more extensive.
Thank you.
The issue with the LPN is that there are state board descriptions of what they're qualified to do and not. And they have to be working under an RN, just like an RN has to be working under an MD.
Waited till the last second, huh?
I have worked in nursing for 50 years, and in my profession, I have worked with many, many LPNs that I would take over and above RNs. I have spoken with Lori, and I feel very, very comfortable with what she brings us. When we moved here 5 years ago, there was no nurse, there was no social worker, there was no contact person. We now are given this, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I am so appreciative that they are giving us a nurse and a social worker, and they don't have to. And I just needed to clarify that. Thank you.
I didn't ask you to say that, but thank you. Anything else before we wrap things up for the day? No? All right. Well, have a wonderful Friday, everyone. Have a great weekend. We'll see you around. Thank you for coming.